Hello and welcome to episode 10 of today's Tidy 10 at 10. Today we are talking about phase 4, speak it out. We've been talking all about calm the fear, meet the need, ignite the spark, and now we're to the speak it out phase. So what is this speak it out phase all about? It is about the power of your spoken word. Now, I'm not by far the only one who's ever said, hey, there's power in your spoken word. This is very ancient knowledge. Like a lot of people in the 20s actually wrote about the power of the spoken word. But your words are always it's all energy, and it's being spoken out from you into the universe. And whether you believe in the law of attraction, you believe in that stuff or not, your little divine sparks of God are always creating. That's why it's very important not to be careless with our words. We talked yesterday about avoiding complaining. Being complaining about things is the same as saying, I'm giving attention, I'm giving the power of my spoken word to that thing that is usually a fearful thing, a thing we don't want to happen, a thing we don't like to happen, but we're acknowledging it. Hello, everybody, and good morning. We're acknowledging it with our attention, by dwelling on it with our thoughts, and by talking about it with our speech, with speaking it out. So, as I said, you're always creating. If those little inner children are sitting in fear, you've not learned how to calm them, you don't know how to get them into the love space, they're just sitting in fear. They're scared of everything. They are still creating from that space. What are they creating? If they're sitting in fear, they're creating from fear, and they're creating things of fear. More things to fear. Which is why we do not want them sitting there at all. First of all, it makes us miserable as the caretaker because we're trapped in there always with these little roommates. We cannot get away from them. So our only preventative things that we can have peace in our life is to learn how to deal with them, to learn how to care for them, and to learn how to keep them out of fear. Because when they're in fear, they can really suck you in to the fear, and now you're lost to it. But as we're learning how to take them from fear and into love. Now, when they're in fear, they resist, they argue, they say it can't happen, they don't believe you, they're very pessimistic, and if that is still the case, they're still sitting in fear, and you just have a little more work to do. You just need to keep talking to them. Keep coming back to these videos, talking to them every day. Also listening to the hooponopono videos and the real love conversation videos. There's 3 sets of videos, remember, because we are clearing on all 3 levels of mind. We're clearing this fear out of all 3 levels of mind. It actually doesn't exist in the superconscious, but it exists in that conscious mind can be thinking about fear and focusing on fear, which is your caretaker. And that subconscious mind can be focused on fear, which is your inner children, those 5 inner children. Now, if you get them into love, those inner children are creating from there. What does that mean, get them into love? Basically, it just means they're relaxed. They are relaxed. They're not worried about anything. They're trusting you. They're trusting you and your connection to God to always take care of them. I've lost my timer and I've got to find it really quick or I won't know when to stop talking. So they're just relaxed. They're relaxed. They're in relief. They're in love. They're in that space that God has created for all of us to enter into. But we can't enter into it while holding on to fear. With those inner children holding on and grasping for dear life to the fear. Talking about the fear, talking about the pain of the past, talking about whatever they're stuck on. It's kind of like I went kayaking this past weekend. I'd never done that before and I absolutely loved it. But I got stuck in some some rocks. It was just some shallow water, and my kayak just kind of parked right on top of some rocks. So it's the same thing with that inner child. They're not flowing anymore in love. That stream is love, and it will carry you if you relax and you allow it to carry you. If you get stuck on something, which means those inner children won't let go of it, they're stuck in fear, you're not going to flow into love, which means you're just going to be creating more from that space instead of from the love space. So to get them into love, they are going to start creating with the energy of love. It's the kind of the materials they're using in their creative endeavors. It's the difference between using like the best crafting supplies as opposed to the absolute worst. The glue doesn't stick, the paper is bad, whatever. I was a bad analogy, but you get what I mean. It's like stepping into, you're using the worst materials to create from, as opposed to here's the best, highest quality stuff that you can create your life out of. That's why we are getting, there's two reasons. One is just the peace that you get to have as the caretaker and not dealing with all of the internal conflict and dialogue all the time. And then the second is they get to do what they're here to do. They're doing it anyway, but you're taking them from a fearful space and creating from low quality materials and at a very slow rate of speed. They're not, and you can't ask for anything good from this space and expect it to happen. You have the wrong materials. You're not using the right materials, and you're not trusting the caretaker, and the caretaker is connected to the power of God. You're at a disadvantage. It's like your creations are just, they take forever to go. If you ask for something good from that space, they've got to cut through all this resistance. They've got to cut through all this fear before they're even out into the universe. That's why it's like so slow. It's very slow. It's like dial up when you're sitting in fear and trying to manifest something. It's like you're using the wrong materials. You don't have a good speed. You're slowed down. It's just not going to work, which can be kind of a fail-safe when you're creating, your poor inner children are creating from fear, because a lot of the things that they are putting out into the universe is creating more fear, and you don't want that to manifest instantly, do you? Like, it's actually kind of a fail-safe that happens that way. So, but when they're in love, when you're able to speak it out, what I mean by that is it's like having high quality internet now. But once you reach that point, you're not coming from an egoic space. The things you're asking for aren't the things you would have asked for when your poor inner children were still used to being in fear. It's a very different quality of what's being asked for. It's always for the highest good of everyone, not just of self. A lot of your desires change. You're not just asking like, give me $1 million. You're not, it's not about that. You're wanting and craving the divine plan for your life. All the things you used to think would bring you the peace and bring you the beautiful life, it shifts, it changes. You see a higher perspective of, actually I don't need all those things. And actually a lot of those things were very empty. And it wasn't those things that were going to make me feel good. It was this connection that I have. I'm not saying that once you get to that spot, if having $1 million, because that's what you need to complete your divine plan of whatever you're doing here for the collective, I'm not saying that can't happen. I'm just saying you'll ask for things that are more in alignment with that higher plan, with God's plan for your life. So when you're speaking it out, you can play with it then. You can just, there is no resistance to cut through. There is no fear to cut through. All of the inner children are in that love space, meaning they're all trusting you. They're all feeling calm. They're all feeling relaxed. And then it just happens and you'll see it unfold with more ease. you'll see creating the kind of life that you want to create happens with more ease, because you're not up against the inner children. That'll never happen. This'll never happen. I can't have this. My parents never had that, so I can't have that. And they're stuck in that mold of what they think life just has to be for them. And one of the things I have learned to say from this space of getting all of my inner children into more of a love space and creating from that space, when I speak it out, I will say something and I'll say, that's just how it is for me. I always have the most amazing opportunities that are in alignment with my highest good. That's just how it is for me. It's just, there's no resistance. It's just a matter-of-fact thing. Now, am I in fear, attached to that thing and waiting for that thing? No, I'm having fun with it, and that's the difference. You have fun. It feels good to say those things. It feels good to think along those lines. I'm going to stop there. Listen, tomorrow is chapel day. So at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, show up, light a candle, light some incense. We're going to do a little check-in with those inner children, see how they're doing. See if any of them are angry with God. See if any of them are in resistance to anything that we're doing here, and just kind of give them a little checkup and take them to church or take them to chapel. So show up for that. And also tomorrow is our first, for you Tidy Mind members, it is our first live group coaching call. If you want to join us, that's at 10:30 Central Standard Time. We're going to have it's going to be a longer talk, and you can ask questions in the chat box, and I can be engaging with you in that way because I don't really have time to do it here. So, or you can, if you're a member, you can watch the replay, whichever it is that you want to do. If you want to learn more about that, go to the link in my bio. Just click Angie.Johnsey. It'll take you to my profile page, and there's a little link under the description of who I am and what I do. All right, thanks. Love y'all. Bye. See you tomorrow.